His mother sighed deeply before explaining, "Well, she came here claiming that you impregnated her. For the past 6 months, she's been living with us. I told your father that the Desmond I know has never been intimate with any woman, but he didn't believe me." Her eyes widened in disbelief as she recounted the story. She stood there trembling, fear creeping up her spine as Baba, Desmond's father, called out from where he stood in front of the house. Desmond quickly went to greet his father, and after a brief conversation that she couldn't hear, Desmond followed him inside without another word. She felt a deep sense of disappointment. How could Desmond change so suddenly, despite everything they had shared? After all, he was the one who had taken her innocence. A few minutes later, she was summoned to the living room where Baba, Desmond, his mother and his siblings were gathered. "Desmond, this lady came here months ago, claiming that you impregnated her. Is that true?" Baba's voice was stern as he questioned his son. Desmond paused, his head hanging low. "I only slept with her. I didn't know she would get pregnant," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Baba's tone softened, but his words were firm. "Well, she is now your responsibility, even if you say you're not ready for marriage yet." A few weeks later, Desmond returned to his station, leaving her with only 200 naira. That afternoon, she was in the kitchen, exhausted from the day's chores. She knew that if she didn't prepare something before Mama returned from the market, she would be in for a barrage of harsh words. As she put the pot on the fire, Shola, Desmond's younger brother, walked into the kitchen. "Where's my food?" he demanded, his tone impatient. "Please, give me an hour to make it. It's not ready yet," she pleaded. Shola's face twisted in anger. "All you know how to do is spread your legs for men at your age. What have you been doing all day?" he thundered. Her patience snapped. "I won't have you talk to me like that. Be patient and let me make your meal, and if you can't wait, you can make it yourself," she retorted, her voice shaking with anger. Shola, enraged, slapped her. Instinctively, she slapped him back, and a fight broke out in the kitchen. Shola pushed her down, grabbed a piece of firewood, and began hitting her until she passed out. When she woke up, she was in the hospital, having been operated on. She had given birth to twin babies, a boy and a girl. A week later, she was discharged only to learn from Ophir, a family member, that Shola had been in police custody for the past week, released only the day before. Even Mama hadn't mentioned anything about it. "That's because Dad warned her not to bother you with anything anymore," Ophir explained. When her children were 10 months old, Baba called her into his room. He handed her Desmond's address and some transport fare, urging her to visit him. Since she had given birth, Desmond had only sent letters and hadn't bothered to visit his children. A few days later, she packed her bag, took her kids, and headed to Desmond's base. Upon arriving at the military barracks, an army officer escorted them to Desmond's flat. She was exhausted. Her only thought was to bathe the kids and herself, and then rest. But when she saw ladies' shoes by the door, she hesitated, unsure if it was really his flat. The officer knocked on the door, and when Desmond stepped outside, his face paled with shock. "Ajanigo," he exclaimed before quickly closing the door behind him. "What are you doing here? How did you get here?" he questioned, his tone sharp. "Is that how you welcome your kids and their mother into your home?" she asked, her voice trembling. Desmond reached into his pocket, counted out some naira notes, and handed them to her. "Go back home. I'll visit by the end of the month," he said coldly. Tears welled up in her eyes. "Without even letting us in?" she asked, her voice cracking. A woman's voice echoed from inside the flat, and she appeared at the door. "Who is she?" the woman asked, turning to Desmond. "She's my sister from the village. I've already given her money to go back home," Desmond lied. She stood there, shocked and dumbfounded, as her children began to cry out of hunger. Desmond took the other woman by the hand, and they went back inside, leaving her outside. "How can someone just show up unannounced like this? Even if he's your brother, don't you know how to write a letter?" the girlfriend muttered as they disappeared behind the door. She refused to leave. Instead, she sat in front of the flat, breastfeeding her kids, tears streaming down her face. Despair overwhelmed her as she considered abandoning her children and running away. But thoughts of the future held her back. Would Desmond be able to care for them? Or should she just end her suffering altogether?